Now, time to hear one Londoner's very own Zero to Hero story. Frontman of the now legendary ska and reggae band The Jewelers began his musical career busking on the streets of South and East London. Now he's heading to the OVO Wembley Arena to play the biggest gig of his life. Well, a little earlier, Tyber Cranstoun told me about his start in the music industry and what he's learnt from singing on the streets of the capital.
My dad was a pioneer promoter of ska and reggae back in the 60s and 70s. He met my mum, had kids, and like so many parents, you always relive your youth. So we were brought up listening to ska and reggae. And he had like a sound system in that during the early 60s and 70s. So yeah, he was playing ska and reggae in our house since I was born. And then my brother, we lived in Canterbury at the time, being a cobbled pro-busking sort of high street. My brother, who's a couple of years older than me, took to the streets and started singing ska and reggae and soul music. And yeah, the audience loved him. So he returned home, grabbed his younger brother.
Well, then, of course, as you mentioned there, you started busking, and you also started busking here in the capital. Where in London would you busk, and kind of where were you living at the time?
I've lived in Greenwich. I've done a little bit of busking in Greenwich, been to Covent Garden, but they sort of, you've got like a half-an-hour slot in Covent Garden. So they sort of move you on to ensure that obviously you get a varied amount of buskers. So yeah, it's kind of all over Bromley, Beckenham, sort of mainly the south of London.
Well, let's move on and talk about your band, The Jewelers, and just tell us about the style of music you make. You mentioned your dad there and about ska and reggae.
Yeah. We're really authentic. We take it right back to the 60s and 70s. I mean, like all genres of music, it evolves over time. Each decade, it kind of evolves into something else. But we really do hark back to the 60s and 70s when arguably it was the best time for music in any genre. And certainly for ska and reggae. And the trouble was with it, there was so much good music around at that time. So it kind of got sort of like pushed under the table a little bit. I mean, if you go back to 60s and 70s in rock music, indie music, any kind of genre, it was really, it was massive. But in ska and reggae, we didn't really have, there wasn't a hell of a lot going on apart from Bob Marley. Most people can't really name another reggae artist. So, but there were some fantastic artists out there, and I've kind of sort of reached back and emulated those artists. So ours is very much in that sort of, it's very sort of happy, uplifting, mainly, you know, love and kindness and stuff like that. So in the lyrics.
And in the band, of course, is your brother. What's it like playing with family?
Yeah, well, he left a while back, but we're playing Wembley Arena on the 14th of May, and he's making an appearance on there. But I mean, it's trying, testing. I mean, it's like, you know, I do see some people when they go, yeah, I'm close to my siblings. I think when you're singing together as often as we did every single week, it's probably a little bit too much to see your brother. I mean, as much as we love each other and we were very, very close as kids, but as you get older, you kind of get a set way of how you want to do things. Well,
you know, we've got to talk about the Wembley Arena gig. I mean,
yeah,
biggest gig of your life so far, I imagine.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I went to go and see Whitney Houston there. I've been to go and see Prince there, which is just ridiculous for me to be sitting there thinking now that I'm obviously playing there. And friends of mine keep coming up to me saying, you must be buzzing. I'm like, I'm not sure buzzing's the word. It's like, I'd be buzzing if I was to go and see a gig. But to actually be the performer on the stage, you just hope and pray everything goes well. And because obviously the bigger the gig, the higher the risk that things could potentially go wrong. And the thing is now with social media, everyone films it. So you've always got that in the back of your mind that nothing's going to come crashing down or it's not a windy day or something. But no, I'm starting to look forward to it now as we get nearer to it.
Well, you know, far from busking on the streets of Bromley, you're now, you know, playing the OVO Arena in Wembley. What do you think you've learnt lessons from busking that you can take to the stage to Wembley?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I think I still think busking it takes a lot more guts to get up and busk than it does to stand on a stage. I mean, essentially, you're there and people are in town. They're not coming to watch busking. They've come in to do a bit of shopping or to get away from the kids or whatever it might be. So they're not really prepared to listen to live music. So you have to really win them over. And the weather plays a huge part in it as well. So obviously at a gig, people have come to pay to listen to music, but you're kind of interrupting people's day if you're standing around jumping about, pumping out, amped music. So So yeah, I've without a doubt learned loads from busking. I think it's a general confidence and the ease of being able to talk to people. So in the band, we've got some really confident people, but when I come off the mic and I want them to do a little bit of talking on my behalf, so I can catch my breath or something, they majorly struggle, and I'm surprised at that because they're really comfortable. But I think it's because I probably make it look easy because chatting on a microphone as a busker, you have to be able to do that. So from the years of doing that, which is half my life, I'm never, as you probably hear, lost for words too often. I'm joking, but I do think there is that element of confidence that you just go in there, and I think it's that thing of knowing that most people, if not all, want you to achieve and want to do well. But I think there's always the doubt in your mind that there's people out there that want you to fail, but people don't. In general, they want you to do well and succeed. And standing on a high street, I'm living proof of that because obviously we took it to another level. So yeah, I think from standing on a high street, you certainly learn your confidence and also how to project your voice. If you've got a cold or you cough or something, a lot of singers go, I need to rest my voice. But in actual fact, they can probably do it. They just got to find that next level.
Well, there we are. The Jewellers will be playing the OVO Wembley Arena on Saturday, the 14th of May.